Okay, welcome back. We are ACI Course 10, Class 5 already on September 15th, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you. Smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiating from them. That beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who is hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to your precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach me that. Show me that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. So in this chapter of Master Shantideva, he's been teaching us about using practices to clear our obstacles and gather the goodness so that our purification practices can work. And we recognize that we want to do purification practices because our growing understanding of that thing called karma, the imprint we make on our own mind stream by way of what we are aware of ourselves doing towards others, those imprints become the circumstances of our own personal experience of what others do towards us. And that when we realize that this mind doesn't end when this body does, and that what goes on in that mind, what actually makes the mind up, is all of those imprints of all of the things we've seen ourselves think, do, and say towards others. We realize that, oh my gosh, I have imprints in my mind that could force an experience that's worse than the experience I'm having now as it goes into another, what seems to be a life. So we recognize if I die with these not good seeds that I don't want to color my next life, then I want to clean them up before I die. And I want to be trying hard to plant seeds in my mind that any one of which ripens into my next lifetime will be okay with me, because there'll very likely be another human life on a spiritual path with everything I need to make progress. So it's like once we connect the dots ourselves, we would say, wow, how do I clean this up? As opposed to being on a path where the leader of the path says, you have to do this, 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 and this, right? Our own personal motivation comes through our understanding, which is why we take so much time to go through all of this for ourselves so that we can make the choice to do these practices or not. That self-motivation makes a huge difference in whether we take on our path of transformation, right, because we want to versus because we feel obligated in some way. So last class, we actually learned the 4 powers of purification, the 4 forces, right? The force of destruction, the educated, I'm blanking out. The regret of an educated Buddhist, the healthy regret of an educated Buddhist is what Geshe-la says. The power of destruction, the power of the foundation, recalling emptiness and karma, basically recalling what I just said. Then the power of the antidote, applying some opposite activity to damage those seeds. And then the force of restraint, of course, not doing the deed again. Or if we do, purify again, okay? Until we've broken the habit. What can those practices purify? Everything and anything when we are diligent enough to do the practice strongly enough and often enough. Like all wrong deeds, even those committed and collected, they say, which we didn't really talk about. It'll come up later. Your quiz asks you for the list of those 6 antidotes. I'm not going to go through them. You know them. So in this class, Geshe-la's following Master Shantideva's text, and Master Shantideva is giving a little bit more emphasis on the antidote force and why we need the antidote force and how to increase our motivation, our personal motivation for our purification practices. And then he finally shifts over to how we grow the goodness that fills in where we've just weeded out the seeds. So this class is these 2 factors, finishing up how we go about clearing the obstacles to our progress, and then the factors that we can use or the practices we use to be gathering the goodness. So it does not mean that we do purification until we're done, and then we do the gather goodness practices. Of course, because we're going to keep purifying right up until the last moment that we find ourselves transforming. So we're doing the purification regularly, and then on special occasions, bigger ones. And we're doing the gather goodness regularly and on occasions, big ones. And once we know all the pieces, all the parts of the car, we can put it together and we can make a car that runs reliably. All right, so Master Shantideva wanted to talk more about the power of the antidote force and what it is we're needing to antidote. antidote force, if you recall, was Nyempo Kuntu Chupe Top. I don't recall it. I have it in my notes. Don't get the wrong idea. But Nyempo is the idea of two things can't be in the same place at the same time, right? If I have a pen here, there's nothing else that can be in this space. I can be close up, but one thing at a time. Same thing within our mind. Two thoughts can't be in our mind at the same time. And that's a long story because it's like, no, of course it can, right? I'm aware of all of you guys at one time. But technically, right, what's happening is this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. But the point of Nyempo is that there's a reason why two things can't be in your mind at the same time related to the antidote power. And that is because the two things we're talking about are opposites, right? So for sure, I can't have anything in the space that this pen is in. But if there's such a thing as the opposite of a pen, I don't know what that would be. But right, it couldn't even be close because opposites are opposites. So the idea is that when we apply an antidote force for the seeds we're wanting to clean out, while you're having the antidote in your mind, it's opposite of the negative. So right, they can't be happening at the same time. For instance, that jerk doing that to me, and this is all coming from my seeds, right? Those are opposite thoughts. And we can't hold them both at the same time. We can toggle that jerk doing that to me and, oh, that jerk coming from my seeds. You see, you can't have them at the same time. That's the idea of Nyempo. And so to apply an antidote force is even these two seeds, they're so opposite that it's like the positive one negates the opposite one, the negative one. But fortunately, the positive one doesn't disappear in doing so, right? Physics would say, if you're taking this negative and you're negating it with the positive, let me do it that way, they should both disappear, like sound canceling earphones. But in this case, the positive negates it. And because you've just negated a negative, you have a resultant positive left. The positive of having cleaned out the negative. Anyway, detail that just, I don't know where that came from. So the idea is when we focus on the empty nature of the situation or the habit, the mental seeds we're wanting to purify, you can no longer hold to that situation as having happened in the way that we believed it did. We can no longer even hold to our reaction to it as having been the right action to solve the problem. Because understanding the emptiness of the thing we're trying to purify is opposite of misunderstanding it. And the misunderstanding is included in the seeds planted that we're purifying. And if we negate the misunderstanding, we negate the ability of that seed to ripen into its full-on result. Which is why thinking of the emptiness, showing ourselves the emptiness of whatever we're trying to purify serves as the strongest antidote force. because it's working against the very misunderstanding underneath it all. So Master Shantideva says, to get to that level of purification, we really want to understand more clearly what it is we're trying to antidote, right? We start out saying, oh, I said that negative thing to Sumati about my friend Joe, and I see that that was wrong seeds. I want to purify having said that unkind thing, right? That's divisive speech. And I regret divisive speech because that's going to bring me these ugly results. That's one level. Underneath that, there was some reason I felt compelled to speak, to tell Sumati that thing about Joe. And if I could identify the reason I said that and purify that, then, right, in my future, I'm less likely to say something divisive because I've cleaned out the reason I even would. And then if we go deeper and go, well, why would that reason even make me want to speak divisively? What's underneath that reason? And if I purify what's underneath that, well, then I'll never have, or I'll be less likely to have another of that kinds of reason that would make me want to speak divisively, that would make me speak divisively. Do you see? So if we're going down in the layers in our understanding of what we are purifying, our purification practice can be swifter, right? Deeper. We can work on the surface level and it's helpful. But do you see, to go deeper, deeper, says Master Shantideva, things will progress more swiftly. But to be able to do that, we need to be able to recognize those deeper factors so that we're identifying the deeper factors during our actual purification efforts. So Master Shantideva says, it's really helpful if we think of ourselves as having a spiritual illness. We are all sick in a certain way. And if when we can find and take the cure, we get well. And the beauty of that is it says to us, we are not basically broken, bad, right? Incompetent, awful beings. We're sick in some way. And he says, furthermore, the sickness we all have is that we are poisoned. So like a poison, right? If we are eating something regularly and we don't know that there's something harmful in it, by partaking of it regularly, we're poisoning ourselves, right? I mean, they're starting to find there's arsenic in rice. I mean, everybody eats rice regularly. And then when we recognize that, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to stop taking that stuff because it's poisoning me. So a poison, when it's in our system, right, goes into the circulation, it goes everywhere. So Master Shantideva says, we are poisoned with the three poisons, it's called. We have three poisons. And we've always been poisoned. There's never been a moment we haven't been poisoned unless we've seen emptiness directly. And when we clear out the poison and stop taking it, right, you'll get better. We'll get better. It's a nice analogy. So dusum, the K here makes the du short. It isn't duksum, it's dusum. Sum is the number 3. Du is short for dunyao, which is suffering. And here it's poisons, the poisons that cause the 3 sufferings, you could call it. So the 3 poisons, basically, is what I'm trying to say. These 3 poisons are the causes of all 84,000 of our mental afflictions. Yeah, just 3. Stop having those 3 poisons and all 84,000 mental afflictions will fade into the sunset. What are these 3 poisons? Classically, they are said to be desire, aversion, and ignorance, also translated as attachment, hatred, and ignorance. And Geshe-la suggests that those translations are too strong. They imply that there are only certain times when we're having these states of mind. Like if I asked you, were you afflicted with desire today? It would be like, no, I just went through my day. I didn't have a big craving for bananas that made me, be mean to David in order to get bananas. That I didn't have a big desire today. But the poison of this poison is my eyes pop open in the morning, I get out of bed, and I want more sleep. Like that's the poison of this desire. An ignorant liking, an ignorant desire. So that kind of desire I had all day long, right? I want this. This needs to do next. That will bring me some pleasure. All thinking of it as coming from it, thinking of it wrongly. And so all these I wants, driving my next activity. Is it wrong to want things, to want to do what comes next? No. We'll understand in a moment, I hope. But the idea is this poison that's often called desire. It's a moment by moment thing. So Geshe-la suggests a more useful translation of those. I didn't give you the words, but whatever they are. To be ignorant liking. He goes on to call it stupid liking, which is even better. Stupid liking means liking something in the wrong way that makes us willing to do a wrong thing to try to get it and keep it. I'm going there next. So aversion or hatred, how many instances of aversion or hatred did you have today? It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have that anymore. But how many moments of ignorant disliking did I have? Yeah, the moment I got out of bed, my knees hurt. Those dumb knees, right? That's an ignorant disliking right there. We have them constantly also, not in our mind at the same time, but ving, 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 ving. And that makes up me and my life, right? Me and my day is this constant like, don't like, don't like, don't like. And I'm trying to manipulate things to experience more likes and fewer dislikes. Underneath that is the ignorance itself. And he doesn't offer any different word than that. But he does, of course, want us to understand what we mean by ignorance. It does not mean that we don't know everything in the encyclopedia, right? The ignorance is the misunderstanding that believes that the thing I'm liking or the thing I'm disliking, it has its quality in it that is the cause of my pleasure or displeasure. Okay? It's that misunderstanding of the nature of the object, the nature of the me, and the nature of the interaction between the two of us that is the ignorance poison. In the Wheel of Life Tanka, that actually is the explanation of how karma works. In the deep, deep core of it, you remember there are those three animals. There's usually it's a rooster, sometimes it's a pigeon, and then there's a snake, and then there's a pig. And the rooster, the bird, represents the desire, the ignorant liking. The snake represents the hatred or aversion, the ignorant disliking, and the pig represents the ignorance itself. And in the more modern versions, the three animals are holding in their mouth the tail of the one before. So it makes us circle, which is true. Apparently, the more ancient ones, the rooster and the snake are coming out of the mouth of the pig, which is more accurate. The ignorance, the misunderstanding of the object is what causes our ignorant liking and our ignorant disliking. So truly our deepest poison, the worst poison of the three, is the ignorance. The ignorance is the belief that that jerk doing that to me is doing it unrelated to any kind of cause I might have made. And not even worldly in terms of interacting with that particular person. Okay? My own karmic results are ripening. This guy yelling at me. But the way I perceive it, because I'm poisoned, is that unpleasant guy, for some reason, is upset with me and yelling at me, and that's unpleasant for me. He is causing this unpleasant experience. And that I don't like that unpleasant experience. And so I'm going to react to that guy in a way that's intended to get him to stop making me feel unpleasant. Worldly ways of making people stop making me unpleasant for some crazy reason is to make them more unpleasant so that they'll go away, right? Hoping that they will stop being mean to me because I'm mean back. Typically, we don't all do that, fortunately. The important piece was the beginning factor, which is he's doing that to me. And that pain I'm feeling is his fault. It is true it's happening. It is not true that the other person is the cause. They are a contributing factor, right? They are involved. But it's my experience happening. It's my own seeds ripening. We can't see that in the moment. not until a long time of study and practice. The sooner we apply our learning, our understanding, the fewer replants of ignorance we make. So I'm getting distracted. Master Shantideva is saying, look, when we're wanting to apply our antidote and we recognize the poison underneath the circumstance that we're wanting to purify our reaction to, then we can purify on this deeper level, which will help our purifications be more effective. Do you see? So Geshe-la gave us this technical definition of ignorant liking to help us better understand what's meant by it. Here it is. Excuse me, it's long. Sakje ki nupo la yong nu nyang ne ron topki mi drelwar dupe semjung sempa. Semjung means a mental function, and sempa means a thought in the mind of a suffering being. It seems redundant, a mental function thought. But I guess we can have a mental function that's not thought. So it's trying to clarify that this is actually, right, an awareness on the level of cognition, I guess. So this ignorant liking is a mental awareness of what? Of all of this. So let's start back at the front. Sakche means impure. And when they mean impure, Geshe-la describes, think of a fresh bowl of water, and then somebody throws some sewage in it. That water is now impure, right? On a lot of different levels. As opposed to, here's the fresh bowl of water, and a little bug is floating in it. It's like, okay, I'll just take the bug out. The water's okay again. But sewage, ugh, right? So when we say impure, we want that kind of reaction. Sakje. Sakje ki nupo. Nupo is the word for an object, a thing. So an impure thing. That kind of, right? Impure. Yeong means attractive. Yeong du nyang nye means appears to be attractive. Rong top means independently. And mi drelwar dupe. Mi drelwar means I don't want to lose it. Doesn't want to lose. And dupe wants. So I'm not quite sure how that mi drelwar dupe also seems redundant. It's something that I want and I don't want to lose. Like I want it when I have it, if I have it, I don't want to lose it. Anything that we want that we have, or have that we want, we also have this state of mind of I don't want to lose it, right? I want to keep it. I need to protect it. So this whole thing is saying that like this thing called desire, better known as ignorant liking, is a mental function that doesn't want to lose something which appears to be attractive, but is actually impure. So the implication is that as long as we are poisoned with ignorance, anything that we see as attractive, we are misunderstanding as being the source of the pleasure that we get from the thing. That's what we mean by attractive, right? Something's attractive, we go to it, we want it, we want to experience it. And it's sakje, that experience is impure. Technically, the object is impure because we're perceiving it as attractive in it, from it, when in fact, if we act towards it in the way that this misunderstanding is going to color our choice, then we are doing something to get an object that's only going to be the source of more suffering. And in that way, it is sakje. It is impure. Is it beautiful to enjoy the laughter, right, of children? Absolutely. Is it sakje? Yes. Because we're misunderstanding where it comes from. You know, just sitting there, we're not willing to do something unkind to get it or keep it. But the misunderstanding of where it's all coming from is replanting seeds that contribute to the fact that that pleasure will wear out and we end up wanting for more. The worst result of ignorant liking is how this misunderstanding of my pleasure coming from that experience, that thing, my pleasure comes from the chocolate, means when I want and have chocolate, I need to keep it for myself so that I can have the pleasure, right? Next time I want that pleasure. And then if somebody else appears to be after my chocolate, right? My misunderstanding, my poison says, no, that's my chocolate, right? You're welcome to ask me, and maybe I'll share it with you, but it depends on how much chocolate is left, right? Worst case scenario, no, you can't have my chocolate because then I won't have chocolate for myself when I want it, right? Ignorant liking leads to that selfishness, that leads to wanting to cling and hold on to, right? The words are attachment. That makes us not willing to share. What are those seeds planting? Okay, how that's going to come back to me is, right, I'll come across somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody at work. Look, colleague at work, in order for our project to go ahead, I need you to share your information with my team. No, I'm not going to do that, right? You figure it out. Ripening results of my past. No, you can't have my chocolate. It seems absurd. Like we don't act like that since we were maybe 2 years old in obvious ways. But what about more subtle ways? You know, we do have things not just material things, that we are so attached to, so sure that they are the source of our pleasure, our reputation, our future safety, right? Whatever, that we are willing to be unkind to another in order to keep that thing, to hold that thing for ourselves. And it's like, yeah, but, right? I'm the queen of yeah, buts. Yeah, but if I don't protect that thing, somebody's going to take it from me. I won't have it in the future. I won't be safe. I won't be able to help somebody. I won't, right? That's the poison. Justifying our habits of behavior, justifying our need to keep all of these things that we believe are the source of our comfort, our safety, our protection, but in fact are sakche, right? Are impure. They are, in fact, right, ripening results of past kindnesses that we're willing to be unkind to try to keep. No wonder that's a poison. It can only result in something unpleasant in the future. Now, if all of that happened like immediately, if we got the result of our action in the next moment, this would be so obvious we would not be having this class. But then it would be such that the instant we crushed a bug, even by accident, our chest would be crushed. Thank goodness karmic seeds take time to ripen. So do the good ones take time to ripen, which is why it's hard to see how the poisons are functioning, which is why it's hard for us to really hear a teaching like this and go, oh my gosh, I get it. I'm never going to do that again. We can't, because we need to confirm it for ourselves before we can be totally convinced. So we hear it again and again and again. And that's great. So ignorant disliking, misunderstanding an object such that it's a thinking its attractiveness and the pleasantness it's going to bring to me is in it, from it. And so I'm willing to do what I need to do to get it and to keep it. Liking things is not sakje. Liking pleasant experiences is what we are meant to do. It's the being willing to do something unpleasant to another to get or keep the thing. It's the misunderstanding that the way I get the pleasure is by actually trying to share it with another. But then it's like, well, if the way I get my favorite donut is that every time I see it, I give it away, I am never going to get to enjoy that chocolate donut, am I? But as we think that through, it's like, if you take your favorite donut and instead you hand it to somebody, right? They go, wow, a donut. Like, thank you. Mostly. Some people will go, no thanks. But then you just go find somebody, right, who finally goes, wow, thank you. And you see the pleasure you just gave them. Is that pleasurable? Is it pleasurable to see yourself bring a little pleasure to somebody else? Yeah, right? Yeah. So did the donut bring you pleasure? Yeah, you didn't even have to taste it. You didn't even have to eat the calories. So it's like, yes, eventually there's going to be so many of your favorite donuts, you won't want to eat it. But maybe by then you enjoy giving donuts more than you enjoy eating donuts. Do you see how it goes? So the component of the poison is our choice making, right? Our behavior choice making. The misunderstanding that underlies the other two, the liking and disliking, is the belief that it's the object that brings the feeling about the object. When in fact, it's my karmic seed ripening that makes the object give me the feeling about the object. We are not saying that the object does not bring pleasure. They do, obviously. But if my favorite donut is the source of my pleasure, then everybody who experiences that donut will get the same kind of pleasure I do. But my favorite donut and your favorite donut are probably not the same donut, right? So it's very easily obvious that the object is not actually the source of the pleasure. It just appears to be. And how did I make that? Okay, it's unique to me. I had to have created the cause. So of these three poisons, the worst one is the misunderstanding. Now, if by just hearing that we have the poison of misunderstanding, we could just say, okay, I'm going to stop doing it. Like, wow, we'd all be Buddhas already. We can't just stop doing it because every seed we've ever planted is stained with that poison. And it's not a matter of just deciding I'm not going to believe anymore, because the seeds are still ripening with the belief, with the poison. But now that we're onto it, right, we can have the experience, those things in them causing my happiness or my distress, and catch ourselves. No. Pleasant thing, result of some kindness. Unpleasant thing, result of some selfishness. If it's pleasant, who can I share it with? If it's unpleasant, great, let's burn it off, not replant it. And that becomes our mindset as we are trying to unpoison ourselves, right? Stop perpetuating the poison. We finally stop perpetuating the poison of ignorance after our direct perception of emptiness. Actually, during it, it stops. But until then, we're still experiencing and replanting on some level, but less and less and less as we understand more and more intellectually about how our experiences can't, in fact, be caused in the way we think they are. They have to be the ripening results of our past deeds, which means my current deeds are where my power lies for creating my future experiences. Okay, so Geshe always says we can't have stupid liking in our mind and the understanding that that thing I'm stupid liking about is coming from my own past behavior, because those are two opposites. And when we have the wise one, this thing I'm stupid liking about is coming from my own past kindness. Wow, right? I want to be kind to get that thing. And how would that change our interaction with whatever we need to do to get the thing? Okay. Same applies to ignorant disliking. Okay, so let's recall the steps involved in what's called collecting karma. The steps involved in planting a seed in our mind. The first step is always this misunderstanding of the object, thinking it exists independent of our experience of it, thinking it exists with its qualities and characteristics in some way other than this projection of our own mind. Second, based on that misunderstanding, a desire about it comes up. The desire is either I want the thing or I want to avoid the thing. Either way, it's a kind of desire. Third, I'm willing to do something to get it or avoid it. It's not usually a conscious thought. I want, I don't want goes so quickly into action that we don't stop and think most of the time. Just by the I want and I'm willing to act to get it is collecting karma. Even before we've actually acted, the seed planting is happening. So when we say collecting karma, it's these three right, that happen. A perception that has ignorance, a want, and a willingness to act. Movement of the mind. And then what it motivates is the action. What I actually think, say, and do to get and keep or to avoid the action. So really our seed planting is happening on such a swift and subtle level that we can't get down in and do our 4 powers of purification on our ignorance. Like I've tried. And we can't do it because we can't do a power of restraint. Like I'm still working on it because it seems if you could just get a fraction of an instant of the power of restraint, of ignorance, it would be so powerful, like your world would crack. But I haven't done it yet. So we can't actually say, I'm going to do 4 powers on my ignorance because we can't apply the power of restraint. I will not be ignorant again for the next 10 seconds. It's like, good luck if we're not Arya, if we've not seen emptiness directly yet. Probably at that point we could do it. So yes, we want to do our 4 powers on the deepest level that we can get and identify. And it needs to be the deepest level that we can actually do a power of restraint on. Right? So think about that. Like if this is the first time you're hearing all of this, it's going to take some cooking. How am I going to apply what she just said? So we work on our purification on the level that we can identify the mental affliction we're wanting to purify, identify the circumstances that bring it up, so that we can identify how to actually apply our power of restraint so that we can actually do it. And then that will help grow the goodness that we can get at the more subtle levels in our purification practice. So how does it show up in our life then? Let me finish this and then we'll take our break, please. If I'm experiencing something pleasant, then I'm training myself to immediately rejoice in past good deeds. Doesn't matter whether I know what they are or not. this is pleasant. Wow, yay for my past kindness. Who can I share it with? If we're all by ourselves, the enlightened beings who are omniscient are aware of you, aware of them. Make an offering. Whoa, offer this to my holy beings, and enjoy. When we're experiencing something unpleasant, yuck, this is unpleasant. It's ripening results of my past unkindness. I regret whatever that was. I'm not going to act unkind. At best, I'll be a bump on a log. No, at worst, I'll be a bump on a log. At best, I'm going to react with some kind of kindness. So, for instance, boss is yelling at you. Ordinary reaction comes up. I want to do it. No, not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to sit here and let them finish yelling. It's really unpleasant, but I'll survive it. Or we think, no, I'm going to try and say, I'm sorry you are upset with me. True. How can I help you? Right? Opposite reaction of ordinary reaction to somebody yelling at us. How dare you yell at me? Right? As opposed to how can I help? It may make them madder. Is that a result of offering, of trying to be kind? No, that's our own result ripening again. We stand our ground, right, with kindness. Our understanding is coloring our behavior when we can pull off those two kinds of circumstances. Pleasant? Wow, yay, share. Unpleasant? Wow, yay, burn off. Be kind. Right? The end result is like, yay, yay, yay. No matter what's going on, I am not there yet. But I can see that could be, right? Could be achievable. Master Shantideva says, Lord Buddha is like the ultimate physician. And they provide for us the ultimate medicine. But we have to take the medicine for it to work. We can't put it on the shelf and just look at it. The practices that we're being taught are the medicine. When we do them, they will clear out these poisons. How long will it take? We do the practices until the poison's cleaned out. That's how long it takes. All right. And the main medicine, of course, is emptiness, understanding emptiness. All right, so let's take our break. I will stop this and pause. So next, Master Shantideva gives us three reasons to make efforts in our four forces of purification, as if we're not motivated enough yet. But he says there are three reasons why we really need to purify. And I have the Tibetan for them. I'm just going to read it for the seeds, but I'm not going to go through them word for word translation as Geshe-la did because of the time it takes me. So just hear them for the seeds. The first one is Landre ki nanye la mikepa. The second one is Jangse Shekang Dorlen Sulshin Du Mi Jepa. And the third one is Jangsem Gewe Gekjong. So I am going to describe them in detail. So the first one, it means we don't understand the details of what's right and wrong. We don't understand the consequences of our actions. Lendre means cause effect, karmic cause effect. The details of what deed I did to make me see this fig tree with that particular leaf turning yellow and the rest of them not. There's some very specific thing that this mind stream saw itself think, do, or say towards another that is the cause of that experience. To be able to know that direct cause and effect requires omniscience. So it's like we don't understand these details of how our behavior affects our experience. And because we just don't really have a clue of those details, we need to purify. Like he just says, because we can't know. That means we're doing stuff all the time that's perpetuating our sakche world, right? Our impure world, the world of obvious suffering, the suffering of change and pervasive suffering. So we need to purify. Second one, the Changse Shekang, etc. That means even when we do understand a little bit about how karma works, we still find ourselves doing the old misguided things to get the things we want and avoid the things we don't want. So even after we've heard all of this, right? So Rani will go out and make herself a cup of tea and drink it without offering it first, right? Without making Sumati a cup of coffee first, I will make myself a cup of tea. And I'll justify it by saying, well, he doesn't want a cup of coffee right now. And do I have to wait to have a cup of tea until he wants a cup of coffee? Right? I'll only get 1 cup of tea a day instead of the 6 that I drink. Right? It's like I'm trying, right? My own mind. It knows better, but it still operates by habit. And so I want to purify. The third one, Jongsam Gewe Gekjong, means if I am not walking around with the state of mind of bodhicitta all the time, I still have obstacles to it. And I want to clear those obstacles. And so I want to do my purification practices. So these 3 reasons keep me doing purification practices. Now, purification, it comes along in our preliminaries to meditation. So if we're meditating every day and we're doing our preliminaries, we are doing some version of purification every day, even if it's really cursory. Then we can also decide, I want to do purification as its own practice. And maybe we set aside 1 day a week that we do that, right? Or, special time each day, as you wish. And we can have our understanding of the power of the 4 powers as we go through our day. And when we find ourselves in a situation where we've either just planted a negative seed or are about to, and we can go, oh, regret, karma and emptiness, my seeds, antidote, I'll do the opposite, and some power of restraint, which is like in the next 2 seconds, I won't yell back. 1, 2, done. Right? So our 4 powers can be done on the fly. And the ability to do the 4 powers on the fly will be a ripening of goodness based on our efforts in purification, more formally on our cushion, and our efforts at helping others to purify, others who are interested in purifying, not others who are not interested. Don't go and impose your purification practices on other people. But the results of our purification will only be as good as our good karma can bring. Right? Okay. So as we clear away the obstacles, which is what our purification practice is doing, we are wanting to add the power of goodnesses. We want to grow our good karma. Technically, we want to grow our merit, our ultimately good karma. Like the basic mantra is purify, make merit, in order to change our perception of ourselves and our world. It's called generating the tunkins. We had it first class. The good circumstances, the goodnesses, the positive energy directed towards this bodhicitta, the heart-opening bodhicitta, and the direct perception of emptiness bodhicitta, that puts us on the conveyor belt to that being who is Buddha you and Buddha paradise, omniscient and emanating, right? Love, compassion, omniscience. And what that becomes, what that is. So with our purification, it's like we are pulling out this weed by the roots. And so here's the soil, and here's the weed, and you rip the weed out, and it comes up with the roots. It means there's a little hole in the soil, right? It leaves a little space where the roots were. Versus if you just cut the weed, you haven't disturbed the soil. So you pull it out, you've got this space. It's like prime for planting a new seed in it. You don't even have to get in there and dig around in the dirt. It's right open and ready. Geshe likes that analogy. He says, when you purify, put in something good right away, because our mind is prime. It's like our mind's got this little space available to put in something sweet, something nice, something kind. So it's a nice thought, right? As I purify, it makes my mind ready and available for kindness, like to put kindness in, which means it's coming out of us to think to be kind. So our purification is going to set us up for being more kind. And then our kindness is going to go in better because the soil's all ready for it. I don't know, hope that helps. So there are 5 practices for gathering this positive energy. Like we've got these 5 packets of seeds that we're putting in because we've just pulled out the weed seed by the roots. Here are the 5. Yiram, Gurwa, Solnep, Noah, and Dongsem. Yi wrong is the word for rejoicing. Often we hear people use the word tartuk for rejoicing. Technically, tartuk is the fourth factor in planting a seed with the firmness necessary for it to bring a result. It means more the completion, the finishing of a seed than it is rejoicing. Yi wrong is the actual rejoicing word for being happy for something that we've done. To recall something kind that we've done or seen done. The seed's already in there. And by thinking of it with pleasure, feeds it. The thinking of the goodness is new seeds, like being happy with ourselves adds to the seed of what we did to begin with. So it's a way of growing, adding power to those seeds, which is why they call rejoicing practice a way of watering the seeds. Right? You have to water seeds to get them to sprout, right? So Yirong is the first way. Now there are three levels of rejoicing. I think there's more than three, but Master Shantideva gives us three. He says we can rejoice for anything that we do or we are aware of others doing to get to a higher realm. And basically this means anyone avoiding the 10 non-virtues and working on doing the 10 virtues is creating the seeds to creating more seeds to get another human life, and a human life consistent with their spiritual path. So it does say, the scripture does say, to get a higher rebirth. And it sounds like it means me as a human wants a higher rebirth, which would be form or formless realm, which we don't want, right? Those are spiritual life dead ends. So here it's saying we want a higher life in the sense we want to assure ourselves of a human life, which is one of the higher lives, right? When we're talking about all the different kinds of realms, human, form, and formless are higher realms. Formless, not desire realm, but not to worry. And lesser realms are the hell realm, hungry ghost, and animal realms, right? So this doesn't mean we're rejoicing for things people do to become a form realm being, right? It's to get human. What does it take to get human? Like, we haven't really talked about that much. That course, that awful course 8, right, was what it takes to get hell realm, hungry ghost, right? All the others. So anyway, the basis is rejoicing in things that we do and see others do that are avoiding the 10 non-virtues and doing their opposite. Which means, you see you yourself come across a line of ants and you step over them, right? That's a rejoiceable. You just avoided killing and protected life, right? Avoided the non-virtue and did the virtue. They're two different seeds. Just by stepping over ants. Yay. If you saw somebody else step over the ants instead of through them, you know how we do. Yay. Right? We have so many rejoiceables. We take all the goodnesses that we see in our world for granted. And it's a missed opportunity. I do it myself. And it's a missed opportunity to water our goodness seeds that made them in the first place. And by witnessing something pleasurable and then it's gone, we've burned off those seeds. Right? Whereas we could have been watering them, right, as we're experiencing them. Second level, we rejoice in anything we've done or others have done in order to get to nirvana, in order to get free of all our mental afflictions. And it's like, I don't know how I would know somebody else is doing something trying to get to nirvana, because I don't know their mind, but I know my mind. No, and it would be rejoicing in my meditation efforts. It would be rejoicing in times that I cut off a mental affliction because I know it's going to come back to hurt me and others, right? Times when I actually apply myself to my practices would be things to remember and rejoice about. And then the third level is to rejoice in things that we or we see others do that are directed towards reaching total Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Right? So he's making this distinction between the different vehicles, right? The different levels of practitioners. And he's pointing out that there are all goodnesses on different levels. Rejoicing practice is really an art. There's so much, so it's so rich in how we can use it. Geshe-la says, what do you suppose is the opposite of rejoicing? If rejoicing is being happy for the kindnesses, the good results we get, and the good things that other people do and they get, what would be the opposite?
Envy or jealousy?
Jealousy, right. He says jealousy. And he says it's like the antithesis of a bodhisattva, right? Our bodhicitta is, I want to reach my total enlightenment only so that I can help all beings stop their suffering. Meaning, I really, really, really want to become one who can help everybody reach their ultimate happiness. Like, I want to go into the happiness creating business. And then I see somebody get a little bit of success and I get upset with that. Yikes, right? I just showed my own mind I really didn't mean it when I said bodhicitta. That person's success that I can see, where is it coming from? Me. No, they did what they did to get that success. Right, whatever success they see themselves having is their seeds. Whatever success I see them getting is my seeds. I gave them that success. How? By some past kindness, right? How useful is that jealousy? The jealousy coming out is some result of some past byak. Their goodness, like, take some credit, be happy. But do you see how hard it is? If we think of someone we don't like and they're getting some goodness that we want for ourselves, it's so hard to go, my goodness, gave that to them. But do you see how powerful it would be to our own mind? If jealousy is going, you can't say that. And we go, no, wait, jealousy, listen. My goodness gave them that. Jealousy is going to go, what? What are you talking about? Right? We just keep at it. And finally, jealousy will go, oh, right? And it'll shrivel up. And it'll come back again. But really recognizing seed ripening factor is how we interact with those mental afflictions. Okay. So second way of putting in goodness is gowa. Yeah. Gowa is, I think it literally means turn the wheel. Here it's the practice of asking holy beings to teach the Dharma. Asking that holy being that you have in front of you, asking them to help you, asking them to teach you, formally, informally, asking them to bless your mind to be aware of your experiences as them teaching us. This tradition instructs the teachers to not teach until they've been requested, been asked. And for some reason, we're supposed to formally ask 3 times. And what generally happens, you first ask and the teacher goes, no, I don't know anything about it. And then you ask again and they go, nah, I don't have time. And then you ask a 3rd time and they go, well, okay. And why the 3 times, I don't really know. And oftentimes the teacher wants to teach so badly. You ask them once, yes, when shall we do it? Right? But the point is, have you ever gone to somebody and tried to give them some advice that they didn't ask you for? And what was the result that you got? Has anybody ever come to you and tried to give you some advice that you didn't ask them for? And what was your reaction? Right? Even if we're polite enough to go, yeah, our state of mind is, I didn't ask you for that. Same. The holy beings know that unless we have heard ourselves ask to receive, our mind's going to be like this. And they don't want us to have a mind like this for what they have to convey. So they build into the system us hearing ourselves ask, right? It's an important piece. And, technically, I don't wait for everybody to go, please teach me ACI 11. I just offer it next. But technically, I should not mention it and wait until somebody says, will you please offer ACI 11? And I'm supposed to go, no, right? And you're supposed to go, oh, please, we don't do that. But maybe it would be better if we did, because then we would all come to class with minds that are more open, right? So that it can pour in. So just think about your own level of opening to receive the teaching. This koa, the please teach, please teach, please teach me, please teach me, right? When we've ripped out a seed and we've got this open space in our mind and we say, please teach me, please teach me, please teach me. What's the universe going to do? Pour it into you. But then fasten your seatbelt, right? Because teachings aren't always Oh, right at the right time frame, on Zoom, the comfort of your own living room. It could be, I don't know, the next time boss yelling at you is one of those teachings coming. Does that mean the holy being decides, oh, it's time for me to yell at Frank because he asked for a teaching? No, it's all our karmic seeds manifesting what we need because we asked. Do you see? So yes, it's a powerful goodness to ask. And I just warned you, be careful what you ask for, but ask. So, in our tradition, people very openly, say this thing that sounds so weird. Please stay, please teach. And we all know what we're doing and why we're doing it. But, if you go to the grocery store and you say to the checkout lady, please stay, she'll think we're nuts. But it's what we're doing in our own mind. I'm not saying say that to your grocery store checkout lady, but recognize what a unique mindset that a group of educated, well-educated Buddhists have, that we understand why we're saying, please, please, please teach me, when we end our emails to our teachers, because we're planting these good seeds to be able to receive instruction to help us change. Right? That's cool. It's a karmic goodness. Solndep is the next one. Solndep means requesting. We are requesting the teachers to stay. So that holy being that we imagine at the beginning of class, they don't need to be requested to stay with you. They love you so much, you couldn't shake them away if you wanted to. And they know that our own minds need the goodness to ask them to stay close. Otherwise, we can forget. We can lose the connection to them. We can lose the connection to the Dharma. We can lose the connection. We haven't always had the connection to them or the Dharma, have we? Now we do. In order to help perpetuate it, we do this weird thing. We say, please stay. Please don't die. Please don't go to nirvana. Please don't reach your Buddhahood. Stay with me in the way you are now. It seems really weird. Why would you ask somebody to not become a Buddha so that you could have them close to you? It seems like the hugely selfish thing to me. But the point is, right? They don't need to hear it. We need to hear. We need to reinforce our own commitment to them as someone who can guide us along the path. It's an act of humility. It's an act of surrender. It's an act of devotion. We don't use those words really in ACI, surrender, devotion, right? They don't come up till way later. But these two, please teach, please stay, are planting in our mind this ongoing relationship with a being that we see as one who knows more than us, right? Who loves us, who has that joyous effort in teaching. Remember the 10 qualities of a qualified teacher? That's what we're planting the seeds in our mind to perpetuate having access to them, right? It's not their decision to stay or not stay, to teach or not teach. It's coming out of your seeds. And this goodness, if we're wanting to plant goodness in our mind to grow our bodhicitta, these are the ones to do. Rejoice, ask to teach, ask for teachings, ask them to stay. Like, Doesn't it mean go volunteer at the hospital? Yeah, that's a goodness, but these are stronger. We can do both. Next one, Noah. Noah means dedication. Munla means prayer. So Geshe-la wanted to make this distinction between dedication and prayers. When we make a prayer, a munlam, we are stating an aspiration that something might happen later, right? We are praying for something to happen. When we do a Noah, a dedication, we are taking the virtue of something that we've already done, and we're directing it towards achieving an even higher goal than what those seeds could ripen, period. So when we plant a seed by what we are aware of ourselves thinking, doing, saying towards another. And if we leave those seeds, right, they get influenced. Finally, they get over the threshold. They manifest into an experience of other doing that towards me. When we take those seeds and we plant new seeds that says, I want those seeds to ripen in such a way that somebody else is going to benefit from them. It's what we mean by giving those seeds away, or sharing those seeds would probably be better said than giving them away. So when we dedicate a goodness that we do, it's like we've taken those seeds and directed them for somebody else's benefit. And what happens when we give all those donuts away? They come back to us. So when we dedicate our virtue, that's what makes those seeds so powerfully planted that an inadvertent opposite behavior of them can't destroy them, can't hurt them somehow. Geshe-la says dedicating virtue is like putting it in the bank. It's safe and it grows interest, but nobody can take away from it, right? Technically, it's in a CD or something. You can't even take it out, right? Until it ripens as this much bigger thing than what it originally could have grown into. The power of dedication. So then there's this art of dedication as well, right? How do I dedicate for the biggest bang for my buck, right? There are 4 kinds of dedication. So now remember, at the end of class, we always package our goodness into a beautiful gemstone. Classically, we package our goodness into the mandala offering again. But I like this other way. And then we offer it to our holy being. We bring them back into us. And then we do our dedication prayer, which is, by the power of this good deed, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the 2 ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. Basically, what that's saying is I'm taking these seeds that I've just made, and I'm directing them towards every being reaching their 4 bodies of Buddha being. Now, every being includes me, of course. So it's not like I'm dooming myself to samsara forever by giving my seeds away. But by giving my seeds for that highest level, it makes those seeds be the cause for that. See? So there are these four kinds of dedication, four levels of dedicating. One is we can dedicate our kindnesses as a general dedication, which is the one that I just described. May, by the power of these good deeds, may all beings become totally enlightened. Right? May my good deed result in every being's total enlightenment. Like, I don't know why we would dedicate to anything else than that, because that encompasses everything. But we can also dedicate our virtue towards helping the sick. So technically, we would say somebody's sick. In order for me to help them, I want to go do some life-protecting practices on their behalf. Or I would even want to take them with me to do life-protecting practices so that they can see themselves protecting some life. And then that would be the way to help somebody. But technically, you could do your 10 minutes of emptiness meditation and take that goodness and direct it towards your friend's sickness, receiving just the right treatment, and they get better. Right? It's the seeds don't have to match when we take a goodness and dedicate it to something else. When they match, it probably works in such a way that we could go, oh, I see how it works. But technically, they don't have to match. Third way we can I dedicate the power of my goodness towards hungry and thirsty people, meaning needy, anybody in need. I can dedicate my goodness that their needs get met. And fourth one, we can dedicate our goodness so that all beings get anything they need or want, worldly and ultimately. That one seems the same as the first one to me. The point is, we can do our kindnesses with our growing wisdom, and they have a good effect on our own mind. And we are in danger of damaging them when we have, a nasty mental affliction. And we can dedicate those goodnesses for somebody else's benefit and thus protect those seeds from being damaged by our next major mental affliction attack. So dedication is built in to our daily practices. It's built into our learning, and it's helpful to build it into our walking around practices as well. To be recognizing when a kindness has been planted and thinking, wow, good for me. I give that, right, to all beings, ultimate happiness. To have some tool that helps us remember, just dedicate on the fly. Like we're purifying on the fly, rejoicing on the fly, dedicating on the fly at the same time. We build these abilities up, and it becomes the Bodhisattva's way of life, right? You're walking around through your day with this mindfulness that's seeing where to purify, where to rejoice, what to dedicate with everything that's going on. It's really a beautiful way of being when we can hold it. In my own experience is like there's periods of a day I can hold it. There's some days in a row I can hold it, but it's not automatic yet. It's not my permanent address yet. have a friend that calls it that. Only because of seeds, right? Growing our seeds, and we're learning how. The last goodness factor is tong sem. Tong means giving. Sem is this mind, the mind, the willingness to give. And this one's not so much built in as a specific step in our meditation preliminaries, this tong sem. It's a mindset of willingness to share, to have this sense of being a being of outflow versus being a being of inflow. I don't know if that makes sense. Lama Christie uses the word surrender, right? A surrender to serving, a surrender to offering, a surrender. But I like this idea of, am I moving through my day like this? Or am I moving through my day, getting my own needs met? These seeds of gathering goodness as we're ripping out. Can you feel the difference of this mindset of Tongsem? So these purifications and these the preliminaries to purifications, the purification practices, and then these 5 gathering goodnesses, they are the parts to the car that when they are all present and all functioning, you have this car that's reliable and functional and right, you can use it in order to grow our bodhicitta. So they're built in to our daily practice by way of our meditation preliminaries, which is why we do the meditation preliminaries. Do you see? It's so skillful. And for the meditation preliminaries, there's this prayer. It's called the 7 limb prayer. That the danger of having the prayer is that you just say the words of the prayer and go on to your meditation to save time. When we use the prayer, it triggers like all that we've learned, so that during our preliminaries, we are doing the preliminary to purification, we are doing the purification, and we are gathering those 5 goodnesses. And then we sit in meditation. What we just did doesn't affect that day's meditation, but these over time ripen a deepening meditation practice that grows our 2 bodhicittas. Okay, so that 7 limb prayer, you first set your motivation, you go for refuge, you generate your bodhicitta, and then you can say, imagining your holy being in front of you, you say, with my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. Right? That first preliminary. And make offerings both set out and imagined. I confess my wrong deeds from all time and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases and turn the wheel of the Dharma for me, for us if we're in a group, for me. I dedicate all my virtues to the great enlightenment, meaning everybody's enlightenment. And then one would go on to do their daily practice. So technically, those meditation preliminaries can be a full-on daily practice, right? You can meditate on any one of them. You can spend a whole lot of time on your purification or a whole lot of time on your rejoicing. The beauty of a daily practice is that the power of those seeds are growing, and we're continuing to dedicate them, okay? Which means we're not damaging them. We're in that darn time delay between when they've been planted and when they ripen, right? But the ripening is coming. Has to. Okay, we only have 4 minutes left. That's good enough. So let's do our dedication, right? As we usually do. Now you know a little bit more why we do it. Yeah. So recall that person we wanted to be able to help at the beginning of class. We have learned a lot that we will use sooner or later to help them in that deep and ultimate way. And that's a great goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy beings. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close. To continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom may. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person. To share it with everyone you love. To share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom. They don't know where it comes from, and it doesn't matter. And may it be so. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share. Thank you for doing your papers, everybody. What is today? Monday. I will see you Friday. Thanks, Pia. Great. I'll see you Friday morning.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
You,
everybody.
teacher.
Bye-bye. Thank you
Bye. Have a
all.
nice week.
Please stay.
Thank you,
Please
teacher.
stay, teacher. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.